Industrial Energy of Education. Welcome to this course, Basic Manufacturing Process Unit 2, Lecture 13, Metal Forming. Continue. Agenda for today present in this video: metal forming operations, coining, coining, closed die forming, and heating, open die forming, punching, hobbing, co- cogging, flooring, and edging, rolling farming and skew farming, roll farming and skew farming, farming operation. What is the farming? Offsetting it just is a reverse of the drawing process. This is the reverse of the drawing process. The cross-sectional area of the workpiece is increased. Cross-sectional area of the workpiece is increased and length decrease. For it, the compressive force applied along the length axis of the metal piece. Coining, closed die forming. Suppose a upper die and this is the support die at this workpiece, then apply load. This is the open die forming operation. Oh, closed die forming. The meaning of the coins they are like is the shape in the completely closed cavity is an example of the closed die forming. The produce the fine detail of the coin. High pressure and sometimes several operations are the needed while the lubrication are hot uses become can they can prevent the reproduction from fine die surface details. Heating, the open die forming. Heating heating is an example of the open die forming. It transform the rod, usually the circular cross-sectional area of the longer dies. Forming operation. Heating open die heat, heating open die forming. The heat of the bolt screw nails and some example of the heading for the workpiece is a tendency for the blackest if the length to diameter ratio is too high. Punching, it is the process of making holes. It is making holes by using punch or hard roll or the apply. Hobbing is the pricing the process where the die cavity produce is used for the subsequently forming operations to generate the cavity is having a pressure equal to 3 times of ultimate tensile strength of the metal of the workpiece is needed. Cogging, also called drawing out the successive steps, are carried to reduce the thickness of the bar. Forming operation. Cogging, the forming are needed to reduce the thickness of the long bar or moderate it is the constant area is small. Flooring of the eading. It is the intermediate process for to distribute the material is contain region of the workpiece before each the undergoes other farming process that have the final shape. Roll farming a bar is passes through a pair of rolls grooves of the various shapes. This process reduces the cross-sectional area of the bar while the changing its shape. It the process can be final farming operation. Example to shaft, tapered, leaf, leaf spring, table, new and numerous tools. Example for the crankshaft and automotive components. Farming operation skew farming. Skew farming is similar to roll farming but used for making a ball bearing around the wire is fit into the roll gap. Spherical blank format the continuously by the rotating rolls. Classification of farming. The farming process, the open die farming, hand farming, power farming, impression die farming, and closed die farming. Open die farming, hand farming, and power farming. The open die farming in the figure first is the open die farming. Upper die, upper die, and this is the lower die. This is the workpiece. When the farming pressing, the pressing method apply the vertical force vertical between the simple contains for the figure. The open die farming is die do not completely cover the workpiece. Instead, to the open save the various effect to various aspects. The workpiece is moved from the direct hot die cannot to color often the areas. In these types of farming metal are worked above, above the their recrystallization temperature. Recrystallization temperature. The workpiece cold drum open die farming below it's the hot working or recrystallization temperature. It must be reheated before farming can be continued. The, the open die. This is the upper die and this is the workpiece, and this is the lower dies. The open die farming is the then applied the load press, then the work change for size of the workpiece, and then of other is applied force continue, then the achieved by the workpiece required requirement of the shape of the workpiece. Yeah, be planning the friction of forces applied operation performed for the open die process. Open die press, drawing out the reducing the cross sectional of the ingot, the billet of lengthen, offsetting or reducing the length of an ingot billet to the large diameter, offsetting drawing out out the price pricing. Piecing the process the is sometimes the combined with the farming cover for the mineral farming test for the controlled ring, particularly all the forgivable ferrous and non-ferrous alloys. Ferrous and non-ferrous alloy open die forget including the some exposing material like the age hardening super alloys and corrosion resistance refractory alloys. Thank you so much.